As I mentioned in my class notes, some of the technique we've been currently working on is quite hard to put into words, an accurate description. So I thought I'd do a short video covering some of those points. Now the first one is Hapo Ni Dosa. Now you all remember Hapo Geri, where we turn 8 different directions, execute Uchuke, Maigeri, double punch, second count, Gyakuzuki, turn, Uchuke, repeat. Well, Hapo Ni Dosa is a little bit different. It sort of helps to develop the leg compression, sharp turns, and hip vibration. And unusually it starts from Hizoku Kamae. So this would start off from the formal bow. Kamae, down. Then stepping straight back, Ganamura Kakuzuki. Repeat. Aguke. So let's just remind ourselves of the original version, Hapo Ni Dosa. Now, moving on to Hapo Ni Dosa from Hizoku Kamae. Now, what we mean by Hizoku Kamae is here. So that's our starting position. Then, what we're saying is, you've got to move your arms very quickly and yet keep the hips back so you can rotate them or vibrate them to get the Gyakuzuki. So the entire Hapo Ni Dosa version from Hizoku Kamae would start with a formal bow, go to Hizoku Kamae, execute the blocks, the appropriate blocks, left and right, or right and left, and then a turn, a sharp turn, and repeat the sequence. After each block, returning to Hizoku Kamae. At the end, we don't go to back, Akula Shuruke, we don't go back to Hizoku Kamae, we come to Yoi position. So a description of Hapo Ni Dosa from Hizoku Kamae is we bow and start in Hizoku Kamae and then rapidly move the arms through the blocking waza and Gyakuzuki, and each time come back to Hizoku Kamae. Let's look at that. So the only differences between Hopo ni Dolsa and Hopo ni Dolsa from Hizoko Kamai is the starting and finishing body position or stance. So Hopo ni Dolsa, normally we just go back and then make the turns all the way through. Now the same exercise from Hizoko Kamai. Here we start normal, Kamai, and so it starts each block and finishes each block in Hizoko Kamai. Good. Okay, now another exercise was trying to get the hip vibrating with the punch. So what we did here was we started Karazuki by stepping. Try that again. And the idea there is, whatever arm's extended, we take a short step on the same side here. And by doing so, you see how the hip goes back. So it's very hard to take a step and keep the hips here. So it's a very good exercise to make the hips work here. So that's a little bit of hip vibration with Karazuki. Okay? Now, the next one was the exercise, I can't remember what we called it. I don't know whether we gave it a name actually, but however. Okay, now to take it a step further, we start and then hip, fast as you can. Now turn the hips 1, 2, middle. Sooner than the 1, pause, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, fast as you can. Okay. Now, in the Hatha, Heian Yondan, we were suggesting a bounce from the hip or slight hip vibration. And what I mean by that is, if you start here with Heian Yondan and you stop here, it's pretty well stagnant. So what I try to do is I hit that position, see, bounce it. Once again, 1. Okay. So as my hands land here, my hip gives a little flick just to get it off the hip. Up, block, down, flick it off the hip, block. And then the juji from here, Morote directly forward, as opposed to juji too big. Mainly because it takes too long, and if you imagine we've trapped the person's leg and now we want to body shift him out of the way. So we don't want to do this. So we're quite open, quite vulnerable. So from here, what I do now is just a short block here, Morote. And we talked about why we have that arm here, bracing. Well, Gyakuzuki. It's the same as Shudoke at here, so that we can counter. So Morote, it doesn't matter what side, now we've blocked and body shifted because here, strike, strike. So it's conveniently placed, as well as offering cover, cover, cover. All right? So when you do the 3 Morote ukes on the way complete the second half of the kata. From here, again, not huge moves. Huge moves. They're powerful, granted, by doing it that way, but what we're trying to suggest is go more forward, forward, forward. So, and then ready to drive the hizugiri up. Okay. Now with Heian Nidan and Yongdan, we talked about the bunkai, where in this instance we've got an opponent coming in from our left side to attack us here. Now, in a lot of cases, the person that's attacking from this side is well short. We go down, block here, and then we're blocked, if you can imagine. We step up, it's about that much too short. So the attack's got to come to you. This means you can't do a big step here because you're running straight into the blow. Rather, start in a wider yoi position and just drop here, here, drop, and turn. Don't actually go towards the opponent. Okay, and the arms, quick as you can, strike. Okay, Yongdan, we've talked about that. Let's go to Jutei. Now what we said there is, we wanted a little bit of life in the arms. So, the arm, it's not just waved around. Almost imagine with a bunkai that a Jodan attack's coming in, that initially taps it to the side or checks it, like Nagashi Uke, and then this one takes over to bring it down. And you can attack with Taisho if you like. So it's going to have a little bit of feeling in that arm as it tracks or pulls down the opponent's attack. And the same this side. It's got to have a little bit of feeling in it. So the start over and over again is block, strike, heel arch, quick step, Taisho. Okay, now it's this quick step. You can imagine you're getting attacked to your center, Churano Uezuki. If you just put your hand out, you're not going to block it or deflect it. So what I'm doing is by shifting to the halfway position with my left foot here and blocking, see his wrist now held here, and now Taisho in. Now Taisho itself, you see so many people doing things like, let's see if I can do it. Here, big round movements. Some that way, others arms straight. You've got no power doing it that way. It's still got to strike using the tricep and bicep to drive the heel of the hand into the opponent. So you can't just loop it around. It's got nothing backing it up. It's got to be driven. Now how we drive it is, of course, is with the hip. So we almost go straight at him here and then push it out. Okay? So it hits him with a heck of a amount of power. So what I do in that one is, apart from the step up here, one, now I allow this foot to turn as I go through. Turn, foot, through. Okay? So all I'm doing is I'll just move back so you can see it in the camera. Here, step, strike. Allow that foot to turn, strike. Allow that foot to turn, strike. Now, to get some meat into these Taisho, ukes or uchis, what we're suggesting is treat it like Sonbazuki. We drop it, and then hey! So it's really really coming out strongly into the triangle, remember the power corridor here. Okay. Now the next bit was, I'll have to turn this way. Say we've finished the movements here. Oh, we'll better deal with that first, okay? So, let's say we've done the third dash off, change of vision, high, low, slide. Now these blocks here, and then strong twist, up, strong twist. You've got to be able to really move these arms across. Okay, and the knee can come up in front of you like that and then down, or you just swing around Mikasuki-geri type. Just depends on your flexibility or how you prefer to do it. Now, say we've done that with, how can I show you? Okay, so we're here. Now, you can step up left foot or right foot here. A lot of people say by stepping up with your right foot, you're going away from the threat of the opponent. I don't believe that's part of the strategy at all. You're actually starting a whole new sequence, so it wouldn't matter. You're just going to your way. It doesn't matter whether you come up right or left. I find if I step up on my right foot, on my embossum, I end up wrong. If I step up, as I've always done, on the left foot, I land right on the embossum. So that settles it for me. So we're here, up, look, initial block, and then quickly slide your hands into position. Pull your hands away to invert them, then under the knee, drive it in. Repeat, under the knee, drive it in. It's got to be driven here. Now when you turn here, that's got to stab into it, here, and then here. Like a Zuki-uke, not so much Garambarai. Okay, the 4 Agukes. Okay, so we come to here. First one, second, third, and fourth. Finish. So just don't worry too much about the quick turn, but you do, having said that, have to actually block. It's no good coming through, doing it so fast that that number 2 Abuke is almost non-existent. So it's Abuke once, twice, then 2. Okay. All right. I don't think there was anything else. With the Kyon Kumite, if you can imagine I've got a partner standing in front of me. Now, well, say I'm attacking, and I attack to here. It means when he steps back, he's got to be able to get to your arm. I don't think it's deep enough. I think you've got to, when you attack someone in your way, it's got to be at least halfway through his head, halfway through his body, so that he has to step back. You're coming to hit that target, counter, okay? And same in Ji Whitmon, if you think about it. If you're here, and he's attacking to here, he's not going to do that in reality. He's going to actually want to penetrate into your body, face. So from here, I might have to absorb it a bit, move just slightly back to render his attack short. I don't rely on him to punch thin air for me. Now the Gyakuzuki, we talked about that. Too often we're seeing people in basic sparring block and then some weird lashing out Gyakuzuki here. It's got no meat in it, no substance. So what I've got to do is I've got to block, then pull it back. And it will get quicker with practice, but it's not that. Okay, so it has to be a valid strike that if it hit the target, it would certainly cause them some problems. Just one other thing that we practiced on the Saturday morning was, and we discussed this, was Kihon Yondosa from Hizoku Kamae. Say we start here, and then forward, and back, forward. Just how fast the hand or arm has got to come up here and down. See, from here it's probably a little bit more simple, but from all the way out here. Now it's the same for Shudoke. I've got to get this arm right up here as I block. Or going back. And you'll find that all the blocks start getting quicker because of this push here. Push! Gyakuzuki. Push! Gyakuzuki. But unless I'm using the hip back, the Gyakuzuki is again, all my stance is too wide. See, it goes to here and stops. But if I've got a slightly more narrow stance here, and I block from here, one! See, I'm going in to get the guy. And that is with all the blocks. So, how fast can you move your hand down? Or Shudoke down? We did in Kion Kumite, mainly to highlight a point I made about Maroto Uke having to be more direct rather than the big swingy thing, is Kion Kumite, if I'm using Shudoke, the common thing is to go back and block. But what we're saying is if you're quick enough, you can actually advance and attack here. Advance and attack. And it's the same with Maroto Uke. From here, Jodan comes in, block, Gyakuzuki. Okay? So, Shudoke, you block and your hand comes from here, in. Maroto Uke, in. Okay? And advancing in, it might be a bit tricky for people with long legs, but depends on your partner. If he's a tall person too, you're back to square one. But, and maybe if I had a partner with long arms, I might get into a bit of trouble, but I haven't encountered that to date. So what I do, of course, is if I'm planning on to advance into an attack, I usually give myself a little bit more room than normal. And then, as the Jodan comes in here, I cycle around it here, lock, straight in. And we don't want to see this. Two moves. It's just land, Gyakuzuki, or Murder, two. Okay? And you'll find that's quite offsetting for your partner. He comes screaming in, you advance, go around his attack, nail it. Okay, so it's worth trying.